to share publicly?
Yeah, I should do.
Yeah, alright, I'll just check it now. Yeah, can hear you. Great. So, fire away.
Alright, so here we are then at the D3 Race 2 here in Porter, the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. Personally quite like the track. It's a mixture of a lot of the best feature European tracks, as Brazada already invalidating his lap. With the strict corner cutting, it could be quite tricky around here. There's definitely a few corners, especially the S's in the first sector, which are actually modelled off of Maggott and Beckett's and Silverstone. But the S's, yeah, it's easy place to cut the corner as you're trying to take it with speed, especially in qualifying on the flying laps. It's quite easy to do that. And the final sector as well can be quite tricky as well, particularly the long Turkey turn 8 long. You tend to easily cut the inside of that, and I've done that a couple of times. But here we are at Circuit of the Americas. It is qualifying so far. Everyone that's gone out has gone out on softs, apart from Daboy 16, who's gone out on a set of the medium tyres.
If you just let me know the name of the person you're spectating to, I'll make sure to be a decent cameraman. I'll do my best.
Also, Brazada is going through into the final sector, and he's the first one, so he'll be starting a flying lap shortly. As he turns up the ERS now to 5, coming into the final couple of corners at turn 19. Don't cut the final corner, because that can invalidate your flying lap, which is just not good for anything. Onto the main straight, opens the DRS as early as possible, and away we go on to the flying lap. That's right on board with Brazada and the run up into turn 1 as they're helping out the pits. Doesn't get distracted by that. No lock-ups into the first corner, which is good. Out from 2 wide on the exit, turn 2 flat. Team really revving out the gears there as he shifts through into the S section now, trying not to cut. And he appears to take it cautiously, trying not to cut on this first lap. He hasn't done that so far, and he's looking decent. He's managed a bit of a lock-up there. Good way through as he arrives now at the top of the hill, and he runs slightly wide, but it appears to have gone away with it into turn 11 now. Hard on the brakes. It's important to open up onto the back straight here, the long back straight, one of the longest in Formula 1. DRS again, this is probably going to be one of the key overtaking spots onto ERS 4, so we'll get the maximum out of the straight line speed here as yellow flags sector 2. Somewhere hard on the brakes, can be a tricky braking zone with no ABS, and a lock up there just to prove it into turn 12. Then into a complex that's reminiscent of the Hockenheim Stadium section, with 13 to 14, 15 and 16, a tricky corner to get quite right, and it's very easy to lose it on the traction on the exit, but looks to keep it under control. Now it's like 17 and 18, try not to put the inside flat roll all the way through in 6th gear, manages to do that one well. Hard on the brakes into 19 to carry it through. Don't take the IndyCar line because that'll just invalidate your lap. Final corner, and it's a tidy lap, but how quick is it? Brazada across the line with the DRS open, it's gone a 34.5, not too bad.
Not too bad
the first lap. McLaren stopped with Archimon not moving. It's getting going now anyway, just wait for Ryan to go through. And Cam goes immediately quicker with a 33.8 in the Renault. We leave Daboy on his medium tyres. He's coming toward the end of his lap. And the turn into turn 19 now on the brakes. Carries the speed through nicely. Look tidier into 19. No lock-ups into the final corners, and Alfa Romeo just going off wide in the background. And the Haas of Daboy crosses the line to set a 150. Sorry, that's. I don't think that's too good. M3 Edwards getting up into second place at 34.2, but the only man so far getting into the 33s is Cam. And it's a 2:21 from Johnson. That's definitely not ideal. And I think it's just lagged back, but that's not optimistic for him. But some other times they're coming in as Archimog is in the pits, or to see Lord Z94 hard on the brakes into turn 12 to close out to the end of the lap. Now is he done in the second sector, 102.8 in the second sector now. Try to keep the traction under control. He's also automatic on landing gears, he revs out. He's actually using ERS4 at this point of the track as he looks to almost lose it a little, coming out of there into its one multi-effect section. On the exit, we cross the curve on the entry. Looking relatively tidy. A few bits of more traction as he comes into the final corner to set time. Where will this put him? And he goes pole. A 33.6, and pretty like there from the racing point to put him at the top of the timesheet. Now we've got HSHA. Isha comes around the final corner, onto the straight and crosses the line. It doesn't set a time, right? That might have been an invalidated lap time or something of the sort. The other racing point of Count Chacula just coming onto the back straight now, the long straight. Looking good using ERS non, interestingly enough. Why is Chacula using no ERS at all?
I actually noticed that in the first race as well. Even during the race, some people were racing with 100% ERS the entire time, with it set to 0. I think so. In this one, we actually allow auto ERS, but I think some people don't realise that they have to turn it on for it to become active, and they may have just have it switched off and it just stays on 0.
No, because in qualifying it defaults onto 5s. He's obviously changed it back. I mean, because I know on an outlap I tend to put it onto 0 for the outlap to not use any, but it says he's on a flying lap, which he's put it onto 4 now. So I think he might have made a mistake or something on the lap, and yeah, I think he's saved it up for a lap because here he goes now. As Proctor goes up onto the provisional pole at 33.1, not quite seeing anyone into the 32s just yet, but Count Chacula into the first corner now. Going down the hill, he must have saved up his ERS for a lap because he puts into ERS 3. So interesting decisions on the ERS here for qualifying. It'll be interesting to see what this does for him. Trying not to cut the corner in the S's. And it's looking good in the first sector. Looks to have kept it together. It's also quite easy to drop the car on one of these if you go in with too much speed and end up trying to change direction too quickly and spin. I did that on one of my laps. Won't recommend it. Didn't turn out to be quicker. Round onto turn 11 onto the straight. There's actually a yellow flag somewhere. Not too sure what that could be. But it is looking good for him now. The ERS looks relatively tidy for Count Chacula, but only using the ERS 3 on the straight. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see what this means for him. Into the twisty technical final sector of this track. Doesn't lose it on the traction on the exit there. It's very easy to do that. Through the toward the penultimate corner at turn 19. Can be a challenge. The tech could be quite some speed. You don't really want to, as the sun blocks your eyes into the final corner and he's gone into the pits just to disappoint everyone. For the entire lap and he goes into the pits. Anyway, RV84 GT is coming round into the end of the lap now, into the penultimate corner, and it's actually quite a nice helmet that. But anyway, onto the final corner as round he goes, and across the line to get a 1:34.1 and his 15th. Is that an invalidated lap? People must be struggling with the track limits a little. It is set to strict in it, which with this game can be ridiculously strict.
Yeah, it can be.
On the tracks, no. Archie Morg coming around the final corner now, and to set a lap time of a 36.9, which puts him into P8. Be interesting to see the medium tyre runners. It was Alex and Davoy that normally set laps on mediums, everyone else on the softs. If you qualify in the top 10, whatever tyre you qualified on, you must start on. So it'll be interesting to see if they opt to go out again to go onto the softs to get a better position. Stay where they are and start on the mediums. Just, well, Alex Henry is on a lap on the medium tyres now actually. He set his first lap, sorry, on the mediums. It is now on... Oh no, sorry, he set his first lap on the soft and is now setting... He's on an outlap on that medium tyre, so it'll be interesting to see what the plan is there. Davoy on the mediums again in the other Haas with a 1:40.9, so he'll be looking to try and improve his lap, but he's a little bit wide out of turn 10. hard on the brakes. Turn 11, try not to lock up and try to get as good an acceleration as you can, although just looking at the boys ERS, it's all the way down to not much, so that might struggle in the final sector if he's got such low ERS. I wonder if he might be going in this lap. Be interesting to find out. To turn 12, bit of a lock up there. Is he up on his time in the second sector split? No, by 2 tenths down, so could possibly be an in-lap for him there, but the current pole time is by Proctor with 6-7 minutes to go. Proctor on the provisional pole, 3 tenths clear of Husher at the moment, who is on an outlap, so it'll be interesting to see if he can find that time to go for the pole position. As Lord said as well, he's on a lap now just out of the first sector, coming out of the S's in P3 at the moment. We'll need to find half a second to go for the provisional pole, so we'll see if he can do that now into board turn 11. Looking good for him now as he goes up through the gears. Leaves it on the RS5, interestingly, on the straight. Not touching down to Fox. I believe if you put it on overtake, it increases your top speed. And having it on hot lap gives you better acceleration and so on.
I think if you're in gear 7 and 8, overtake increases your top speed.
Yeah. So it probably be a smart decision to try that, going into the main straight and turning it onto overtake. But anyway, we go through into the penultimate around turn 18 into turn 19, which almost immediately leads onto turn 20, where you can't see anything for the sun in this qualifying. I noticed that. It's quite difficult to see, and he moves up onto the front row, only just clear of Husher on the front row for Lord Zed. But Husher is on a lap now, and it's looking like he's got his ERS, so he's going for it. He's really sending it through those S's, giving it everything. We'll see if he's improved in the first sector, and then it says outlap. Why has it done that?
I think that's just a glitch.
Ah. Well, now I can't tell if it's up to, added mystery if you think it's like. On the brakes. Can be quite a tricky corner, is turn 10, 11, because you need to get it right on the exit to get a good run onto the straight, but it can be quite easy to lock up going into it. Another one that will be quite difficult is turn 12, another one that's affected by the just awkward placement of the sun. Is the braking zone for turn 12, but he looks to have done well on that in the second sector split, but I can't quite tell if he's up or not. And now through the final sector. Be really careful with the traction there, almost tried to step out on him there at turn 16. But it looks good so far. It looks like a really decent lap, a tidy lap, a quick lap, but will it be quick enough? Here we go, 3 tenths he needs to find, even's a little bit wide across the curve. Seems to have gone away with it into the final corner now. Accelerates hard at the exit and across the line, and he's done it for 33.0.
Wow.
That was a really good lap. We didn't even know he was up there. But yeah, so Husher taking the provisional pole, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that lap. Now it'll be time to see if Proctor can respond. Still currently sat in the pits waiting, I think, till the very end to try and get the best grip with all the rubber being laid down on the track by everyone else going out. Cam is another driver on the lap now, heading through the S's in the other Renault. Let's see if he can do anything close to his teammate through the first sector split. And he is up on his time, about a tenth in the first sector. He accelerates then across turn 10 across the crest and then down the hill. Fans out a little bit as you approach the braking zone for turn 11. Looks good so far. Don't want to waste any time opening that DRS. Get it open as soon as possible to maximise the straight line speed. Down onto the back straight and then hard on the brakes. There is actually his teammate Husher just in front, so maybe a tiny bit of slipstream down that straight could be helpful. As through the final sector, as off goes Husher to get out the way of his teammate Cam, the Toro Rosso, avoiding blocking him as well on the qualifying. So through these final couple of corners now, the Turkey turn 8-1, then into the penultimate corner at turn 19. and slowing down a bit as he ran out of fuel. I think he's run out of fuel coming into the final corner. That is disappointing. He struggled for him to actually get around to do another lap.
I don't think he's going to have time. Not at all, no.
This way, he was actually up on his time. I'm not sure if it would have been enough to get him into the top 3, but he was up. And Proctor, who is just going into turn 11 now, is on an outlap, so he's waited till the very end to try and retake his pole position. Huscher's still on the track, and in fact, Huscher's charged with DRS and has gone on to hot lap again and is going for one last lap. So it's going to be an interesting qualifying battle, it seems, between Proctor and Huscher for the pole position. And maybe even Lord Z could get involved if he can set a decent lap. So it's going to be probably quite tight between these three for this final lap for pole. As Huscher is actually in the pits, so for some reason it said outlap.
Yeah, it said on mine as well, but it's not actually letting me switch to him either. I think something weird's going on.
There seems to be an issue, but Proctor is on an outlap and he's coming toward the end of said outlap. So we'll see what he can do, and if he's able, I mean, it's literally exactly a tenth ahead, which is an LCD person's dream. It's can he find that tenth to take the pole position at the very end? Huscher's in the pits and not going to be able to retaliate. So all he can do is sit back and watch to see if Proctor's going to be able to take the pole. This is going to be one hell of a lap that he's going to have to dig deep and find as he's revving out the 7th gear to the extreme. I thought he hits the brakes at turn 1. Accelerates out of the first corner, flat through turn 2, foot to the floor. Into the S's. Now, how much speed can you carry through these S's? Slight lift, and then a bit of a brake, and then a lag spike, and then looking tired. He's actually down on his time in that first sector by 2/10, which is not good, so he's going to have to really push to find it. As Alex in the Haas seems to block it slightly. I wonder if he lost too much time from doing that, and that could cost him pole, having the Haas slightly in the way there. But we'll be inclined to find out as he charges onto the back straight now. DRS open into the sun, riding into the sunset like a cowboy. We are in Texas, I suppose. And then hard on the brakes into 12. A bit of a lock up there as you can see from the smoke coming off the tyres as the qualifying is over, and those that were in the pits will not be able to finish their time. So Proctor will be coming up into the final sector. I'm not sure if this will be enough actually to take the pole position, but I'm pretty sure second has the inside heading into the first corner, so it'll be interesting to see that. As into the final couple of corners now at turn 19. Keeps it on the track, which is good. Don't want to invalidate your lap now. You put all that effort into setting a good one just to get it deleted at the end. DRS across the line, and he has done it. A 32.6. That was an impressive lap from Proctor at the very end. What about Lord Zed? Is he able to do it? As we just I've just jumped onto him, and he's riding into the final sector now through turn 15 or 16. One of the two. Then it's turn 17 and 18, where Verstappen cut the corner on the last lap to gain the position. You don't want to be doing that in this. Is it wide on the track still? Really fights the car to drag it away from that track limit. A lock up into the final corner and across the line. And is it enough to improve? No, it's not quite. So currently third, but a mere... Oh, M3 Edwards manages to jump up into fourth on the second row there. And very close in behind Lord Zed. But what can Amir do? I believe he's actually down on his time in the second sector, so that's not looking too good for the Mercedes to get back onto that second row. But there he goes, he's going to try it anyway into the final corner. Is he? Oh, is he bailing out of that lap and into the pit, so it must have been a mistake. And he's committed to that fifth place at the moment. Ivan Johnson going into the final corner now as he's bailed out of the lap as well. And I think that then makes everyone finished in qualifying. So it is Proctor pole position, Huscher second, and Lord Zed locking at the top three, just edging out Void. M3 Edwards who gets onto the second row and fourth. Amir starts P5, sixth place the Cam, 7th Brizada, 8th Johnson, 9th Avi, and rounding out the top 10 will be Todd. Those will all be starting on the softs by the looks of things. Outside the top 10 will be Count Shakula, Archimog, D-Day, Alex, Daboy and Enrique will be rounding up the rear for the grid. Obviously those outside the top 10 will have free choice of tyres, so it'll be interesting if anyone picks the medium tyre to start on. And there it is. Qualifying is done. And I've jumped on board a Renault that's just rear-ended a racing car.
Yeah, I caught that as well. Went straight into the back of them. That's a really interesting quality because from P2 all the way down to P9, I think they're covered by around 8 tenths, I think it is. Maybe it's just over a second. And that pole position, 132.6, was not as fast as the 132.3 I think we saw in the first D3 race, but it's still a really good time, and that's definitely like a D2 time right there.
So Proctor could be one to look out for then in this race.
Absolutely, absolutely. Was there anyone on the medium tyre?
Alex set his time on the mediums down in 14th, but other than that, everyone else was on the softs. So the entire top 10 will be starting on the softs. Outside the top 10 can choose whatever they like, soft, medium or hards.
Right, so yeah, you're right, this is going to be a hell of a race. I wonder if the guys behind the top 10 might be better off starting on the mediums or something. We haven't seen a safety car here all weekend. We didn't see one in D1, we didn't see one in D2, and we didn't even see one in D3, even though there was lots of cars spinning around on track and coming to a standstill as well. So I think the likelihood of a safety car seems to be near enough zero at the moment. So what does that mean for the guys in P10 down to P16?
It's interesting, because you could do the medium tyre and have the faster tyre at the end of the race, or if you think you need to make the positions uphill, if you think you've qualified out of position, it could be worth a shot starting on the soft to try and gain some positions quickly, but anything can happen at the first couple of corners. The opening gambit of the race is always a bit chaotic. The first corner wide at the entry and then narrows on the exit could cause chaos. The S is tricky to go too wide in, and with everyone, they'll be as close as they will be on the grid. Could see a few accidents, but as the formation lap gets underway, Proctor decides he wants to disappear off the grid on the formation, possibly trying to simulate what he's hoping for in the race. So there is the grid. See what tyres everybody is on, and everyone has opted for the softs.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Not
okay.
a single medium tyre runner.
Well, they've answered our question.
That is interesting.
So
someone's on the grid. It looks like D-Day and a boy who've had an incident on the formation lap and they've been sent to the naughty step of the grid. So they don't get to do the formation lap. So the formation lap is your opportunity to get as much heat into the tyres as possible. The more heat, if you can get them in that optimal window, the better grip you'll have at the start. The problem with starting on pole is when you start on the grid, they tend to cool down when the people at the back fall off a little. And it seems the majority looking down at the ERS, they put it either into 1 or 0, for Zada in 5, but it seems like a smart decision to put it down into 0 on the formation lap. You're not racing and you're not wasting any ERS before the start, so it makes some sense to put it low and then turn it up into a hot lap at the start of the race. Proctor really pointed out a bit of a gap on the formation lap, but I don't know if that's in his best interest. The longer he is away from the back of the grid, the longer he's going to have to wait. So it might be in his best interest at the moment just to back him up to make sure they can all get on the grid and get the race going as quickly as possible. But aside from 2 people, no one's really hit anyone on the formation lap, so it's looking quite good so far. It promises to be an exciting race. We'll see if anyone's got the bravery to send it down the inside into turn 1 like an AI driver on the first lap. Or he's going to try and be sensible and just try and survive the opening few corners. Here we go. Proctor arriving onto the grid now. Pole position will start on the outside. Second place starts on the inside. So Fisher can get a good start, pull alongside Proctor into turn 1. He might just be able to get that inside line for the first corner and maybe just pull away. If you're leading into the S's, that's a relative good thing. It's going to be difficult to overtake in the S's, so we'll see if anyone is able to do it. But here we go now for the start of the race. I think everyone lined up on the grid. Looks that way, and the lights are coming on. Lights are on for the race now. And it's lights out, and away we go. Proctor looks to have gotten away well, but there seems to be some changes down at the back. I think Ferrari struggling as DJ at the back there is dropping quite considerably, but into turn 1. And has everyone managed to get through nicely? Looks just about. There's a red bug. There's a red bug gone sideways. I think that's Johnson who's been tagged around and was facing sideways. He managed to be corrected going the right way now, but he has dropped a lot of positions from that as they snake their way through the S section now. The Ferrari in the background is DJ struggling. Must have picked up some sort of damage, but Proctor has managed to get away well on the pole position. There's a red bug. Johnson. Has he gone off? He has made a mistake and he's round, and that's not a good start for him. But Proctor leads now. Lord Z getting up onto second, and M3 Edwards doing well. Husher has dropped back quite considerable, and that's not quite what he wanted, and someone's already got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. Seems all to be kicking off in the background. There's a few stragglers who seem to struggle with the opening part of the race, but it's a relatively long way to go. Anything can happen in this race. So Proctor has already managed to pull out a 1.3 second lead over Lord Zed, who's gone into second, and M3 Edwards in the Ferrari. He's following the racing point through this final sector. It is possible to overtake if you can just get a better exit, and he has gained a lot there as they head into 17 and 18. Not the ideal spot to overtake. I think there's another incident at the back there. There's a Red Bull and there's a Haas going slowly. So I wonder if the boys had an incident. In fact, Johnson has looked to have had a miserable start to this race, and D-Day as well. But Proctor leads at the end of the first lap. Zed in second. M3 Edwards looks under pressure from Husher. He's pulled to the inside. Edwards goes to defend that inside into turn 1. Husher's opted for the outside to get the driving line and tries to just drive it around the outside, gets the cutback on the exit of the first corner. Now has the outside for the second corner, and he's got ahead. And ahead of M3 Edwards and back up into 4th position. As actually Johnson is apparently showing as the leader. Oh, no, never mind. Proctor, sorry, is still our race leader. Lord Z in second and Husher in third place now as Amir is spun. And Amir spun, and he's the wrong way round, and he's had some sort of contact with someone and has picked up damage. He's waiting for a safe space to rejoin the track, and there he goes down in 11th, and that is not good for him. It'll be interesting to see where he finishes this race, but no safety car despite quite a lot of contact in the start session. Proctor 2 seconds ahead of Lord Z already, and Hush is going for the inside. He's really trying to recover after a difficult start. Down the inside into turn 12, gives Zed very little room, but just enough room on the entry there, and manages to get through. Zed now continue through behind as D-Day is out of the race. He's assuming he's just given up. I mean, after a miserable start like that, as the Ferrari, that's Edwards getting down the inside of Pizzardo. Pizzardo getting around the outside, being shown just about the door, and Pizzardo not quite able to get through there. Now into 17 and 18, as M3 Edwards in 4th place still, has Pizzardo behind, and Cam just behind them. So this battle looks quite close at the moment, and also, Lord said, not allowing Hush to get away at the moment, but he is managing to put some sort of against Proctor. He's 2.2 seconds ahead, and he is on it right now. Got this three-way battle, as I think there's a Rebel Cow almost looking like he was going to pull across to the inside there. There's three-way battle for 4th, 5th and 6th at the front of the field. We'll see if anyone has managed to make the moves. DJ leaves the session now, and his team, Ferrari and Void Edwards, he's had a bit of a difficult time. There's a few cars pitting in at the back. We've got Johnson, Amir and De Boy all in the pit lane already, so must have picked up some sort of damage from somewhere then. And so we've got Void Edwards, Pizzardo in P5, and in P6 is Cam, and they're all very close to each other, and with DRS enabled on this lap, we could see them potentially going 3 wide. You see the top 3 running away a bit in more shots. Here we go. And the DRS is open for Cam, it's open for Pizzardo, but obviously not for Edwards, and that's going to cost him here as Pizzardo goes to the inside for Edwards, and he makes the move before he even gets the braking zone, and Cam's capitalising down the inside into turn 12. They both run a little bit wide, but a move there from Cam capitalising on the fact that Edwards had someone else going down his inside, and Edwards losing out 2 places there with the DRS. But now it's Pizzardo that's going to be vulnerable on the main straight with the next DRS is going to happen, as Hirscher's still losing out time to Proctor, who's really starting to pull away for the moment. So here we go, Edwards, who is trying to keep up, I suppose, with them as they cross the DRS detection, which is just somewhere there between the 2 corners. I think it's just there actually. Oh no, sorry, it's before turn 19. As here we go, but they have got the DRS, and I don't think they're going to be quite close enough. This DRS not really long enough, but due to the uphill nature of the first corner, you can brake late, but with no one braking late enough to try and go for a dive bomb. As I say that, there's an Alfa Romeo, a McLaren and a Toro Rosso all coming together. It's Avi, who I think's been spun round after an incident trying to get down the inside of Todd. And Archie Mod caught up in the instant. Narpi has dropped out to the top 10, might even lose the place to Alex now, and I think that spin, that's going to hurt him coming through the S's, and there's another yellow flag. It's Lord Zed! Lord Zed's tried a mistake in the S's. He's facing in the direction that's not very correct. He's managed to get it facing the right way. He's dropped down to 11th. He was running in P3. He had such a good start. And now a mistake there in the S's, and that's cost him a lot of positions as he navigates his way back on to the track. And now we've got Alex on the back of Avi heading into turn 10. Is he going to cross off from who? He's going to the outside, if any. Putting Avi on the inside. And so there they go, running very wide, actually, the pair of them. And they're touching off the track, but Alex gets ahead and gets the DRS because he goes behind at the detection, which is just on the exit of turn 10 for that one, as you run down the hill through the speed trap. I don't think we really care too much about the speed trap at this point. Count Shakula not too far off Archie Mog at the moment, only just hanging in around that second mark. If you get a tiny bit closer, you might just be able to get the DRS onto the main straight. But a battle now for third between Edwards and Prezada looks close as they rode into the final corner together. Edwards is pretty much nearly alongside their head onto the straight, and now really close. He's going to look to go for the move. He goes to the inside. Prezada not doing much to defend, as on the straight there isn't much you can do to defend, but Edwards down the inside and very close to hitting there with Cam. He brought very late, nearly touching the back of the Williams driver, but they managed to survive that, and through the S's it can be quite difficult to follow due to the dirty air of the cars. We've got two more people in the pits. It's Lord Zed and Avi, who've both had difficult races with an incident, and Avi looking to have an incident with Todd, and Lord Zed seemingly spun or something. Not too sure what happened with him, but it has given Edwards currently third. But this battle, as Prezada's ran deep heading into turn 11 and drops actually behind Cam before they get onto the straight. And because of that, Edwards has managed to pull out a gap. They still get the DRS, and in fact they're going to go side by side. And Prezada going down the inside on Cam. Is he just about getting ahead? He's not quite really giving him just enough space on the entry there before they turn in. And Prezada gets into P4 and back out ahead of Cam. But now Prezada needs to really keep close to Edwards if he wants that third place. Archie, and he spun! The Williams is round and Prezada is round, having to put it into reverse, and he's got another battle going on actually between Archie, Tor, Shakir and Alex. No, not quite Alex, but there we go. So we got there's Shakir, Todd and Archie are battling, and Archie going a bit deep there into turn 16. And now, but he's managed to just about stay ahead of Todd. And I want to see if they're close enough for the DRS to try and change things to gain a position. That line is the detection, as we've got the Toro Rosso, and in fact you just see the raceman getting very close, and I think there's been a misunderstanding. I think Todd's tried to get into the pit lane and Shakula not wanting to get into the pit lane, and as Todd's come, and he's actually hit Prezada going in, so that's not the ideal pit entry on. I think what happened there was Todd wanted to go into the pits and Prezada didn't, and Shakula didn't, and so because Todd was on the outside, he had to come across, not where in fact Shakula was trying to get down the inside, and that just caused a problem. But Husher on a fresh set of medium tyres now is actually already pitted. So he's pitted and someone's gone round, and it's Cam at the top of turn 10. He's gone round, but he corrects himself again in third, but has lost a lot of time to Edwards, who was racing. Now actually Archie's caught up, and Husher, who has come into the pits, is supposed to try and undercut on Proctor, but he does not need this. He does not need to be involved in a battle, and he's taken out with his teammate. And the Renaults have collided, and that has surely ruined any chance of Shredder a race win. What was going on there? That happened. I don't really know what happened, but it happened.
I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know if there's something going on with these Renaults, because it seemed like Cam just went straight into the side of Shea while Shea was trying to let him past. I'm really not sure what happened then.
Although Proctor in the pits now, so he's taking that opportunity, as is Edwards. So as everyone that they're racing is getting involved in battles, Archie has done a good job of getting up into third. I can't quite remember where he qualified. He's staying up for another lap, so we're halfway through this race already. Proctor is going to fight in the lead. I think he can just about will it, yep. And Edwards might lose the position to Archie and Shakula. They're both staying out, or in fact it's been quite tight between Shakula and Shakula getting out into that third place. So Edwards down into fourth, and he does get ahead of Alex. And Shea's in again, Hush's in again, as is Cam. The Reynolds are double stacking on a front wing change for both of them. Oh, there are problems down at Renault in this one because they're both in the pits for a front wing change, which is going to take quite a long time. And Cam is really having a bad time of it. And as is Husher, who was in with a shot at a race win from the front row, was trying to get up there, and it didn't quite work. As on going up the hill into the first corner, the odds said not quite close enough to get ahead of him there, but Husher's chances of winning are now definitely out. In fact, Edwards in the pits has managed to get ahead of him. Archie has dropped back massively. He was in second last time I checked. What happened to him? He's made some sort of mistake.
Yeah, I think when he was coming out of turn one, he got a huge snap of oversteer and went straight into the wall, and I think he may have damaged his wing.
He's also having it off with Avi, nearly pushing him off the track, and Archie looking like he's struggling, because last time I saw him, he was in second, and now he's dropped all the way down to 8, so it's clearly this race is seemingly challenging to these drivers. There seem to be a lot of mistakes being made as Shaquille loses the position to Edwards now, and so Edwards 11 seconds behind Proctor. It'll be interesting to see if he can close that gap down in the laps we have remaining. I think Edwards has got one lap fresher set of mediums, and Shakula is in. Alex is not in, he's doing yet another lap. In fact, the drivers that haven't yet pitted are Alex, Shakula who's in the pits now, Archie hasn't pitted, and that is it. So we've got Alex and Archie still to go into the pits. We see if Archie goes in now. This does, yes, that does just leave Alex, who has, yeah, so just Alex then that hasn't now pitted. So he's got to be pitting in soon because, well, quite frankly, it's in the rules that you have to, otherwise you get disqualified. And Archie coming out on a set of his mediums. And Enrique down in 14th, not too good for him. But Alex then hasn't yet pitted, and there seems to be a bit of a train in the S's between Shakula, Prezada and Hesher, who have all had their own issues. This racing down in 9th place is the man that slid second, but on a fresh set of softs. In fact, Prezada on a set of hard tyres, he's been having problems this race as well, to result in him having a hard tyre. And how desperate is Hesher going to be to try and get his way back through the field? Onto the back straight here. Uses the DRS, yes he does. The Williams and Prezada not quite getting the DRS in the slipstream. Does he pull to the outside or the inside? Hesher's going to the inside as Proctor sets another faster slap. I think there's nearly contact there between Shakula and the Williams and Prezada. I think there was. And Prezada is off again, and it's really not been a good race for him today. As Randy goes again, getting yet more front wing damage. But Johnson's done a great job up into 4th place, and Mia running slightly wide. That was almost an illegal overtake, I think, there, as it just caught him off the track and going around his outside. So, but he hasn't given it back, and he's gotten the DRS as well. So that's as Alex Henry finally pitting in eventually, and we'll go on to a fresh set of mediums with the freshest tyres on the field. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in that. In fact, Edwards has ended up 14.8 seconds behind Proctor, so I think, provided he can keep it on the track, it's a no-brainer. He's going to come on with a victory today, isn't it? He's driven superbly well in the lead, and has almost had no competition, really. Last time he saw someone was probably the first lap.
It's like Jan in the GTS race today.
Yeah.
Just pulled away completely.
Just disappeared. Johnson has gotten himself ahead of Amir, both on the same old tyres, so it's an interesting, genuine battle for third now between these two. And Amir with the DRS down the inside for turn 12, pulls ahead, gets him before the straight. Johnson actually almost looks to the inside, but Amir keeps the position there, and he's back into the podium spots. Now if he can just hold on to that for the rest of the race, I'm sure that will be his mission. But now Johnson's going to get that DRS on the very next straight, on the main straight to turn 1. If he can stay within the second of Amir at the moment, as I think the two racing points as well are going very close to each other between Shakil and Lord Zed. All over the back of his teammate, tries to get the run on him, and it's looking very tight between the two racing points. And Lord Zed gets swoops around the outside and makes that one look easy as Shakil cuts the inside and gets penalised for it. But Lord Zed making up the position there on his racing point teammate, and I think Johnson versus Amir. Amir has pulled away quite considerably, so something has happened. Oh no, yeah, Johnson's just decided he wants to suddenly be in turn 1. That was weird. Johnson then in P4 is not too far away from Amir as he's smarting it. Although managed to pull away, and he's pulling away a fair bit, he's managed to get out the second in this S's quite considerably. So it looks like Amir has got the better car through the S's. So I wonder if that's something on the setup, managed a little bit more downforce or something to able him to turn in through those S's with a lot more speed, because you can gain time through there. But you lose it at the cost of straight line speed for the very next straight, so we'll see if Johnson can claws back. He's out of the DRS range, so that's going to make things a little bit more tricky for the Red Bull driver. But is he gaining anywhere on the straight? Actually, Johnson's running ERS 1 compared to Amir, who's running ERS 0. So ERS management seems to be somewhat of an issue around here for some of these. As Avi manages to overtake Husher on the outside of turn 12, Husher on his fresher softs. He's got a fresher and faster compound, so we'll see if he can able to get back past him now in this fight for 5th place. Now turn 16, no one's losing control there. It's an easy corner to do so, but no one seems to be doing just that. Through into turn 17, through to turn 19 now. Down the inside, and where is Avi taking an IndyCar line out of the penultimate corner? Into the final corner now. Can't do that too many times, so you will not get away with it. But Husher with the DRS on the main straight. Is he close enough to go for the overtake? Down the inside into turn 1, and he does go for it down the inside onto turn 1. Slightly later on the brakes, and he manages to get ahead of the Alfa Romeo. And Avi losing the position to Husher now, who's going to now have a 6-second gap to Johnson to try and get back into the top 4. But Avi's going to be trying to just keep close enough to get the DRS, maybe have another run at him. That turn, not straight between turn 11 and 12. I don't think he's just dropped outside of the DRS as they cross the detection line. And so it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite enough for Avi to get back at him unless he can use the ERS coupled with fuel. And he's trying to use the ERS, he put it into hot lap mode as Husher is currently only in ERS mode. They don't know what fuel mixtures they're running in, but we'll see if they've coupled him up. The overtake and rich mix is ridiculously fast on the straight. But not enough for Avi to close the gap down on that straight into turn 12, and stays about 1.4 seconds back. And it looks like Avi's struggling to try and keep up as Husher starts to fall away now. And in fact, the gap to Johnson has come down. Going down now on lap 12 of 14 in the final 3 laps now, as this is trying to chase down that gap to Johnson at the moment to get into 4th. It's going down quite rapidly. So it might actually be that it's going to go to the very end of the race. You can see him there on that rise into turn 1. So this might be Husher pushing to the very end of the race into the final 3 laps. But will it be enough? Will he be able to close on a 4.3 second gap in 3 laps? It's going to be more than a second a lap. And also, it's easy enough to catch up to someone, but overtaking them can be a tricky job. But Johnson keeping it cool in 4th place. I think he's losing out to Amir, and the top 3 are very separate. So the top 3 are just kind of running their own race at this stage. We just look at the positions gained. These are top gainers and losers. At the moment it seems that Johnson has gone up 4 places. In fact, no, Alex has gone up 6 positions in this race. And a bad day for Brazada, who's lost 6 places. And Proctor and Dubois, the only two to be currently running in the positions they started in. So that is that a gap between Husher and
Avi's
Johnson.
just spun.
And Avi round on the exit at turn 12, and now he's going to be under pressure with burning hot rear tyres, so he's going to lose control on the slow speed exits. He's going to have to really manage that throttle now, as Lord Z is rapidly approaching. And there's a yellow, and Renault's round! Husher's round, pushing too far maybe to catch up to Johnson. And now in the 2 laps that remain, he's definitely not going to be able to do that. And Avi's just been brought back into that fight for 5th and has dragged a friend along with him, as Lord said, who's now been dragged along. And the only one out of these 3 that hasn't spun in the last few corners. Although he nearly does have to fall on a corner just to prove me wrong. But Avi on the outside, as Husher's choosing to defend the inside. Avi trying to get around the outside into turn 1, and is that enough? Not quite. She's defending the inside, and Lord Z coming out of nowhere, getting a perfect run through the first corner. It's not quite enough as Avi keeps it on the inside into turn 2. Now through the S's. And is Lord Z going to be able to hold it there? Oh, and Husher's round! He's gone round, and I caught that one, and he's lost it, and he's definitely falling, and it's been a day to forget for Husher, a race where he could have made straight to get it into reverse here.
Oh,
now Alex
he's just reversed straight into Count Chocula and spun him.
And now is Cam just going to be able to avoid all the chaos and a rather disastrous end. And Husher's day is not going very well. It's really not going well for them, unfortunately. But one man that it's gone all but perfectly for onto the final lap is Proctor, who leads with a 16.4 second gap on this final lap. And in fact, I think Lord Z has just gotten ahead of Avi now into the top 5. This battle's resuming, despite Husher dropping himself out by spinning. And so Avi, who is now in P6, trying to stay close to Lord Z, who's driven a pretty good race for himself as well, but to P5 at the moment. And so will he be able to get any further up the field? I think it'd be quite difficult for him to gain that gap as he's heading onto the final lap now. And so Lord Z crosses onto the final lap. There's Avi not quite getting the DRS. I think he's just outside the DRS range before they got which is going to really harm him. He's going to have realistically one really good chance to take that 5th place on the final lap, but with Lord Z pulling out that gap over Avi, that seems increasingly unlikely. And Husher's had a really disastrous race, now running in 9th from the front row of the grid. It's not gone well for him. But coming into the final 2 corners now, he's the man who he's decided he just wants to be in a different part of America, because he's 17 seconds ahead and comes around the final corner to win here the D3 Race 2 in USA. Proctor GP wins in America. A solid race from Edwards, managed to survive all the chaos and move his way up into 2nd, and great battling as well to get there. And a fantastic job from the Ferrari to get that 2nd place. And rounding out the podium will be Amir into the final 2 corners now. 13 seconds behind Edwards, but the Mercedes driver comes through into the final corner to finish off the podium. P4 will be Johnson, who has also driven a good race, and majority of those right at the top are the drivers that just managed to survive all the chaos that happened, as Lord Z now comes into the final corners to get 5th. Avi in P6, Alex P7, Amcam P8, Husher in a race of just disastrous proportions, as you could say. It wasn't the best performance for him today, and he comes home in P9. Count Chocula in the top 10, just about rounding out the top 10, as Archie Mogg was looking so promising until it all went wrong for him. Finishes the race in 11th, Todd 12th, Rezada 13th, and 14th and 15th already finished as Dubois and Enrique round out the field. Only the 1 DNF, interestingly enough. And in fact, Count Chocula and Archie Mogg managed to get ahead of Husher in the penalties. So Archie Mogg managing to get into the top 10 calls of penalties for Husher. So Husher in the end finished 11th, didn't even score points after all that. So really wasn't an ideal performance for him.
Yeah, HSHA Husher picked up a 20-second penalty for reversing into Count Chocula, actually, so that's why Count Chocula jumped him at the end there. But what a race. What an absolute amazing race. Lots of drama, lots of overtakes, lots of really close battling. A lot of potential in these D3 drivers as well. They should be going up to D2 or some of them D1 next season as well, because they definitely have the pace, for sure.
Yep.
Right guys, so that wraps up this weekend of racing. We've done 4 races today, 2 in GTS and 2 in D3, and we also had 2 races yesterday racing around the Circuit of the Americas for D1 and D2 as well. So that's it for this week. Next week we're going to be in Brazil in F1 and in Tokyo in GTS. I'm not sure where we're going to be for the dirt rally, but somewhere around the world I'm sure. Thanks very much for tuning in, and a big thanks to Robbo there for commentating. It was a pleasure having you, and hopefully you can join us in the commentary box again.
Sounds good.
See you later guys, and thanks for tuning in.